Good afternoon and welcome to Behind the Scales, where we dig into the everything behind the scales of raising these animals, and in our personal lives and the emotions that we struggle and face with it. And today we have a great guest, Thomi Gill with Inky Cloud. She's very knowledgeable. I call her an OG, and we will just cut to the chase and bring Thomi on out.
Hey.
How are you?
Doing all right. Can't complain. It's been a pretty quiet Sunday. Just was eating carrots and punching my husband while I was waiting to get here.
Well, look, I got more than rabbit food if you're hungry.
I'll eat my chicken when I'm done.
Okay. So I doubt that there's anyone out there that doesn't know who you are, but just in case, why don't you tell us who Thomi Gill is and how Inky Clouds got started?
Okay, sure. So I'm Thomi Gill. I'm with Inky Clouds. I've been doing ball pythons now, I think, for 8 years, maybe slightly longer, maybe a little less. I'm not good with time. Ish, exactly. I've been keeping reptiles though for about 35 years. I've kept everything from baronids to venomous to What? It's impossible? I'm almost 50.
Yeah, I would have thought. I honestly thought you were in your 30s.
I'm almost 50. I'll be 49 this year.
Okay, I got 10 years ahead of you though.
There you go. Well, yeah. So I've been doing this for quite a while. I had ball pythons back in the day. Also, just when I kept them before, there wasn't any morphs other than albino and piebald, and they were very out of reach because I was a teenager, I believe, at that time when those first came out.
Right.
So I had seen them, but they were out of reach. And so I just had a couple really big normals that I did reptile education with, because I used to go to churches and schools and Boy Scout and Girl Scouts and do education shows on reptiles to try to educate children. So hopefully, and their parents. So hopefully I could save some native wildlife, even if they didn't love reptiles or love snakes, at least they had some more understanding, so they might not go out and kill them if they saw them.
Right.
So they were my ones that everybody got to pet and hold,
Right. Yeah, and I love the normals.
Yeah.
I think they're very undervalued. They do serve a big purpose. I mean, even just as pet or whatever, but even in a breeding project, in some situations to get back to an original state or whatever, they're very valuable for sure. Speaking of educational things, we were very blessed. We got a call Friday, right about the time school lets out, from one of the larger private schools here in town, and they're having a family event this Thursday and asked us to bring some snakes and things out and be prepared to talk about them and teach the kids and the parents and everyone. And the wife's gonna take her camera and stuff with her, and if the parents let them hold one, take pictures of them, and then we can email it to them or something like that.
Yeah. So it's a really nice experience. Anytime, I'm really big into education. Like pretty much everything that I've done outside of like when I was working for other people has been education in some form. I owned a gym for 13 years, and now I'm a positive reinforcement dog and horse trainer. So I do a lot of education with those things because I have to educate people on how to train their animals. Then, of course, when it came to owning the gym, I taught powerlifting, Olympic lifting, things like that. So, and teaching people about how to take care of their bodies outside of the gym, things like that.
Right. I didn't know you worked with horses too. My daughter-in-law is an equestrian instructor, Western style. She's a cowgirl.
Yeah.
My little 8-year-old granddaughter barrel races.
Barrel racers, yeah. It seems like a lot of the Western style people like to barrel race. I have gaited horses, which Western style people hate, other than like people who do trail riding, which most of them love them. So.
And they do that too. They do a big educational thing with horses here in town, and you can't train your wife like
no. My only recommendation is to do what she says.
Yeah, the best advice we could give you on that is let her train you.
My husband always says, happy wife, happy life.
I agree with that. So, do you remember the first reptile or that you really got a hold of and what got you hooked and into the
I
reptile
still
world?
have the first reptile I ever got.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a Florida box turtle. I was
Okay.
2 years old. So, and he was a subadult when I had him. So he's probably pretty close to the same age as I am. He may be a year or two older than me, but he's not younger than me.
I wonder what kind of stories he could tell us about Thomi Gill.
Oh my gosh. I don't want him. He can't be telling any stories. I won't let him. Oh my goodness. He's a really cool animal though. He's just now coming out of hibernation. Because they live outside. I let them do the whole hibernation thing. And well, I haven't seen him yet this year. I was gonna go check the yard today. They have a pen in the yard and see if he's come up yet. Every year I'm scared that he's not gonna come up because it's gonna happen one year, but
Yeah, sooner or later, actually,
it's gonna happen, but
right.
Yeah, I just don't want it to.
Exactly. We moved the rats out of our snake room this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope it wasn't a bad idea because with them in here, the snakes smell them all the time, and they're ready to feed all the time.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I haven't had any problems. I've never had my rodents in the same place as my snakes, and I don't really have any feeding issues.
No, I don't think I will either. We just didn't have our building climatized at this point.
Okay.
And it was a little chilly down here until this past week, so I just had them in another bedroom in the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, usually we talk about mental health issues and things that we've faced as people and things like that, and we may do that, but I want to, I think, go a different route in that you've done it all in this business in one way or the other, just about. So what kind of pressures and things do breeders face that you can give them some advice on how to escape or how to deal with? Because there's pressures in this industry too.
Yeah, I think the most common pressure I see is the pressure to start yet another project and like try to take you away from like whatever people will usually come in with no goal, and then they finally find their goal, and then they start working and they realize how long it's going to take to realize those goals. Like unless you're putting in a lot of money up front, most of us are working from a couple gene animal with maybe some hets and maybe a visual with some genes in it, and that we're trying to build it into something. We have a vision for it, right? And once you realize how long that takes, then you start learning more about like YouTube and other things and like all the other things everybody else is doing. And I think it's really easy to get sidetracked in that because you see the next pretty thing, and it's harder to kind of stay in your groove and like really continue going where you're going for 5 years.
Right.
Because there's not very many things that we do that take 5 years, especially these days and ages. Everything's immediate, right? We're used to like instant gratification. If we turn on our computer and we get the spinning wheel of death, it's frustrating, and we're like, oh my God, it's not happening right now, right? So I think that's the hardest thing is to not be pressured into, and that doesn't mean it's direct pressure, but that happens also, but not be pressured by the constant barrage of information and to just constantly picking up new things, because what you'll end up doing is just half doing 100 projects. And that's not satisfying.
Right. I fell into that trap in the beginning, and it's still the beginning for me. I mean, no doubt. But I bought pretty snakes, as you referred to, and when I figured out that I just like the clowns, and that's the clowns and stranger, and the wife likes pied, so that's the direction we're going to go.
Yeah.
I realized I had things that just isn't going to help me.
Right. It's just not going to fit your projects, right?
Luckily, knowing a lot of people in the community and things, I was able to switch out some snakes with those who needed those, and they had things that would benefit me. So
Good.
I was lucky in that aspect anyway.
Yeah.
Where did the name Inky Clouds come from?
I really love like the time that's like right before a huge storm, like where you're in the kind of grayish, but the sun's out, and then you can see a storm rolling in, and that's
Right.
literally all it is. It's the inky clouds of an oncoming storm.
I
It's
gotcha.
just something I enjoy. It's like I spend a lot of time outside, so I tend to gravitate towards nature type things.
Yeah. Well, Tommy, you're pretty well known really for paying attention to subtle mutations in genetics. What drew you to that side of the hobby?
Autism,
Okay.
literally. I mean, that's really. I mean, I've always been very good at pattern recognition, and that's one of the things that helped me with training complex lifting with people doing like Olympic lifting, because Olympic lifting is not just pick up a barbell. There's a lot of nuance to it, and it happens very quickly. And so understanding body mechanics and things like that, and being able to apply them in a split second and being able to assimilate that information, it's helped me. So I've always been a very nuanced and detail oriented type person.
Right. So,
Plus, I love the DNA stuff. I nerd out on it.
well, like the gene wars thing or whatever they do on the RWO where you're identifying genes, they throw the snake out there. You're pretty good at that. I sit there and they go, I'm kind of like Mike Duvall. I can't see, so I'm just going to guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just, like I said, it's just been a lot of looking at base gene. What does the base gene look like? What does it look like when you layer this? What does it look like when you layer that? It also helps once you've actually worked it yourself.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm sure you can attest to the fact that photographs online don't always look like what something looks like in hand, and that doesn't necessarily mean it looks better or worse. It just means that it looks different because you have the ability to actually see a lot of things you might not be able to see on a screen. So then when you have, a clutch come up and you have to sit there and study them and be like, all right, like I know that this is this. I know this is this plus this, and I know this does this. So it just kind of like all over time, it comes together. Some people really never get very good at IDing things, and I don't think that is uncommon, honestly, just because of the amount of mis-ID'd things I see. And I don't think that that's necessarily always a lack of education as much as it is just some people don't pick up on nuance as well.
Right. We're going to stop here for a second and take a commercial break. And we come back, I want to give you some time to talk about your mentorship program.
Okay, sure.
So we have a new
Operation Deeds, Not Words 2 is dedicated to empowering and uplifting disabled veterans and first responders through unwavering support, meaningful resources, and real opportunities that honor their service and sacrifice. Our mission is to build a thriving, impactful organization driven by the shared vision, commitment, and accountability of our team, because when we work together, there is no ceiling on what we can accomplish.
We are equally committed to the growth of our team members, actively encouraging them to expand their voices, followings, and businesses as essential pillars of our mission. Being part of Operation Deeds, Not Words reflects great credit upon our members, uniting communities in the Fat Man Nation. Green Line morphs under a shared purpose rooted in service, resilience, and action-driven impact. Deeds, not words.
ReptileAds.com is the modern marketplace for buying and selling reptiles, amphibians, and exotic pets. Built by Purple Turtle Technologies, we're creating the most trusted platform in the industry. Join thousands of breeders and collectors on the most trusted reptile marketplace. List your animals, connect with buyers, and grow your business with Reptile Ads. Enjoy our easy access to stores as well as a genetic calculator for your convenience. Stop by and check us out today.
That little break between each one always gets me, and I know it's there.
Like you're like, wait, we're back. Oh, we're not back.
Yeah.
I
But
felt the same way.
I want to thank Reptile Ads for coming on, Zach and them, and for helping us out, and hopefully we'll be able to be a benefit to them too as well.
Nice.
So I know I mentioned your mentorship program right before the break.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell us about that and how it can help people, what you offer, and get into that a little bit.
Okay, sure. So the mentorship program is actually a fairly new thing for me. I've been on and off helping people in like chats or private messages or wherever with, just questions after questions after questions. And a lot of these people were already in Patreons other places. And I was like, hey, like, aren't you in a Patreon? Are you able to get help there? And a lot of people said, well, I've been in multiple Patreons and I've spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for some people. And, I got no like direct help. Like a lot of it just seemed like they said, like they felt like they were paying to be in a chat room, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But if your goal is to have one-on-one, that's not super helpful. So after kind of hearing that a few too many times, I kind of was like, well, I can help people still in chats here and there, but like if it really comes down to like helping somebody like choose pairings, ID animals, help them kind of go through their collection and see, what is your goal? Are you in a good place for your goal? How do we line those goals out? Let's look at your projects. Which projects do you have that are your strongest? Do you really actually have this most strong stuff in the project that you think you're working towards? Things of that nature. It was a lot more detailed and a lot more time. So I was like, well, I'll start off a mentorship program and just do a few people,
Right.
being five people, because that's all the time I have. And, I'm not trying to solve the whole world's problems, but, I figured if there was 5 people at a time that I could help get through those problems and really set them up for success and try to really take the time to teach them versus kind of like half answering a question and putting my phone down and walking away. I could, I could bring more value to those people's projects. Hopefully that's the end goal. So far it's going really well. I feel like I do have some paperwork that I have people fill out, and like so we can actually look at everything and look at a long lens view. And we do stuff like in a thread, and then we also have like a monthly call, not as a group, it's one-on-one.
Okay.
So that way also, like, some people are really kind of weird about their projects. They don't want everybody knowing what projects are working or what they have and things like that. So that's another thing, is that being one-on-one, they don't have to worry about, like, well, I don't want to talk about this in front of everybody because I have this idea that I don't want anybody else to jump on until at least I get to see what, like, bring it to fruition, So it's gone pretty well so far. I have 4 people right now. And I'm not actively like pushing for anything. Like if people find their way to me, I'm happy to have them. And if nobody else does, that's fine too. It was just like to kind of put something out there. I think that I thought, well, there was just like a big hole in the industry for.
I think so. I've been blessed and met many people that's been valuable, very valuable help. You've actually done some helping as well. And, but I think that this kind of program by people with your skill level and things could help the industry immensely. You know, especially
Yeah.
coming in, people don't know what parts of the industry to watch out for and what, you know, where they can get caught up and things like that. And
Right. And
I,
do people really have your best interest in mind? Like sometimes people's best interest is like you're paying a membership because they want to sell you snakes, not because they care about what you're doing. You
yeah.
know?
Looking at the ball python world right now, what are you seeing that the average keeper might miss in beginning and trying to get things together? Where do you think they're lacking the most?
Understanding about how they're going to procure and continue to procure food. Lots of
agree.
people
I
do
jumped
not
into
think
it
about that at all.
and then realized that I need,
Feeders are not cheap.
well, it's 100%. If I had to buy feeders at one of the local places here, it would cost me a couple $100 a week.
Exactly. And most people
And
can't
thankfully
afford that.
thankfully my rodent production's good now, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. But
Yeah. I think a lot of
we're
people
going,
come into it not thinking about that. You know, they just don't think about like, oh, I'm not going to
I
be
think that
just a
you can
snake breeder. I'm going to be a rodent breeder.
100%, and I think you can make more money in feeders than you can snakes.
Some people do, for sure. Some people do, for
We're
sure.
going to give it a go. We have a 2,000 square foot building in the back that we're going to fill full of
Nice.
rodents.
Okay.
And
well,
my
having
wife,
that space already set up, that's a plus for sure. A lot
yeah,
of people don't have that much space. I have my rodents in like an 8x10 shed.
right. Well, you know, in the beginning, I considered a 10x16 building,
Mm-hmm.
but I've got the garage out there that doesn't do anything, and I do have one decent room that's sectioned off and sheetrocked in and insulated and everything, and got a couple
Yeah.
of windows in it, so I can keep the ventilation going real well.
Nice.
And had that going. But my wife made a lot of sacrifices for me because of my health,
Mm.
and she left her career and started doing personal shopping for people and house setting and pet setting and photography and things that she's in charge of. So if I have a crisis, she can be right there.
That's great.
And so we talked about it, and we're going to see if we can get the feeder business going enough to where she can stay home.
Nice.
You know, she'll have to help with the rodent still, but
Yeah.
she won't, you know, it'll be a little bit easier on her every morning. And yeah, she wants part of the building for a photography studio too, and that's all good and
Nice.
fun. I don't know if people want to come in there and be with the rats or not, but you know.
You never know.
Yeah. Do you think the industry moves too fast, chasing new morphs sometimes without first understanding what they're actually dealing with?
100%. Yeah. I think there's understanding a lot of the times by the people who are producing those morphs, like, and showing us most of them. You know, most of the bigger breeders have years and years and years and years and years under their belt, so they might have
Yeah.
an idea, but that knowledge, I don't feel like, is really imparted. It's normally just like, hey, look at this cool thing, and then next week there's going to be another cool thing.
Right.
So, I think that
Shout
makes it
out.
hard sometimes.
Shout out to everybody out there in the
Hey,
chat, Val and Podman and Carl, and I think I saw Mitzi. But if I missed you, I'm sorry.
yeah, it's hard to keep up with while you're talking at the same time.
It is. And Pedro from Mexico, welcome.
Hey.
Thank you.
I've been talking to Pedro a bit.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out, Pedro. What junior combo do you personally think is still underrated right now? Maybe that they skipped on and moved over kind of thing.
What combo do I feel like is underrated?
Yeah.
Like any kind of combo?
Yeah.
Hypocryptic. Any hypocryptic. Literally any of them.
Yeah, I'm working on getting a couple of kryptons right now. I've got a cryptic girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've got a line on a 1.1 hypo clown, so we'll see what happens from there.
Nice.
But I really like the cryptic interaction, and especially with when you have the clown with it in the krypton. And to me, it's interesting how they kind of superform and pass one of those automatically, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I definitely I do the pure cryptic stuff, and they do look very similar, like whether they're pure cryptic or krypton, which is kind of crazy also to me. But
Yeah. When you plan a pairing, what matters most to you? Visual impact, long-term projects, or genetic curiosity?
I would have to say I would have to say, like, I'm just thinking over my pairings over the last 2 years, 3 years, like including this year, and I would say it varies by year. It
Okay.
varies by what I have in my racks. So like last year and the year before, I want to say most all of my pairings were to push my projects.
Right.
And that means visual impact also, because if I'm pushing projects, I'm trying to add incomplete dominance. I'm not just trying to add hets.
Right.
I would say the majority, I would say like 75% or more of my pairings were push projects the last 2 years. This year, I'm pushing more towards visuals with additional hats from those animals that I brought out, because I had more remedial females in the racks growing up for those 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've made males to then pair back to them and then create the visuals
That you need. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned incomplete dominant. I know it's not the correct word.
Incomplete dominance.
Yeah, you probably didn't use that word.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, no,
Okay.
The incorrect one's codom.
Okay, I got you.
Yep. Yeah.
When people are starting out, do you think, where should they focus on? Should they focus on getting hets and making visuals, or should they get a good base of dominant and incomplete dominant genes to start with?
That's a hard one because that's going to vary by person. For me, my first thing was to get individuals that had at least one incomplete dominant and at least one het. That was my base. I still have some girls that don't have hets because I have stronger boys and I can put those to them and still make things that I can push my projects with. But just getting something with like 5 hets, I think people really underestimate the difficulty in creating visuals from het to het pairings. I made a Desert Ghost tri-stripe, pastel Desert Ghost tri-stripe last year, and that was my 3rd year pairing het to het to get a visual.
Well, if you have, say, 2 triple hets or quad hets kind of thing, and you're looking for one particular visual out of it and the others are bonuses, the more hets you have, doesn't that make it harder to hit the one you want?
It doesn't make it harder to hit the one you want per se. There's just more genetic outcomes, so it doesn't really like make it where it's going to block anything. I think that what people, it's kind of like a logical fallacy, because people are like putting quad het to quad het and they're not getting that quad het, so they're like, oh, it must be harder. But like, it's not harder, because if you put quad het to quad het, you're more likely to get, like, say it's a hypo-pied clown monsoon, whatever, right? You're more likely to get some hypos, some pies, maybe some hypopies. You're more likely to get mixes of 1 or 2 visual.
Right.
Like, whereas if you do like a double het to double het, I feel like a lot of times you might get like 1 or 2 visuals instead of like 2 visual double visuals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you.
So I don't feel like it's harder per se. It might be. I don't really believe it is, like numbers wise.
Okay.
It's just more options.
What have you ever produced something that surprised you genetically? It just wasn't what you thought, or?
Not yet. I'm definitely on the road to it though.
See, it's going to happen at some point, right?
It's gonna happen for sure. I feel like there's definitely, like I said, the last couple of years, most of my stuff has been pushing projects. So I've got a lot of things that I knew what they were gonna look like within reason.
What's the hardest lesson breeding ball pythons have taught you?
I think that the hardest lesson was how hard it is to actually get a double visual out of a double head to a double head.
Right.
That was awful. 3 years of pairing, and like I didn't even get a single visual.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I literally, I got no visual desert ghosts and no visual tri-stripes for the 2 years prior to that. From the same pairing. And then I got my double visual last year. That's a lot of snakes to make that you don't have any use for.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Sure. All right, well, we're going to go to another commercial break real quick, and
Okay.
we'll be right back.
For sure.
Introducing the Python Portal, a ball python breeder who works on snow and true ghost combos as well as the Tiger Gene.
We also offer many unique custom 3D printed accessories, as well as custom merch, so don't forget to stop by and check us out.
What do you think is more important in ball pythons? The female's ability to store and keep sperm viable, or having multiple copulations? From Pedro.
Pedro, I'm going to have to ask you to kind of expand on that a little bit because I'm not understanding the question necessarily.
I think he's.
Are you asking like a single? Would you rather do a single pairing and just hope for the best that she stored the sperm, or you?
I think that's the question. I think that's what he's asking.
Yeah, I definitely do multiple copulations. I've had girls go off of one pairing for sure, but I'd say that's happened twice, just because timing just happened to be like, because like I paired them and then like a month later they ovulated, so it wasn't like, because I don't ultrasound, so it wasn't like I planned it that way. It just kind of happened that way.
Yeah, for sure. And that was a good question, because I got a question from Facebook, and someone I'm trying to help now. She's been trying to breed for 3 or 4 years, and has not had a clutch.
Wow.
And she said, "What am I doing wrong?" I said, "Well, I'm not. You may not be doing anything wrong. I don't know." I said, "But we talked a while," and I said, "Well, tell me how you go about it. Tell me how you feed, things like that." And her husbandry all seems like it's, from what she tells me, is good. But she was advised by someone to put her male in with a female every 3 days.
Wow.
And I said, "You're going to kill that poor guy."
Well, that's a lot of pairing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not going to produce a very good result. I think it's going to drain him of.
Yeah, it's crazy though that she didn't get a clutch out of that, because I mean, like, you would have thought they would have paired at least a couple of times out of that.
And I don't think she was feeding well enough. I mean, she was feeding her breeder females like once every 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can't. They can't produce babies off of that.
And
they're just trying to hold on to body weight. Yeah.
I encourage us. You might want to start trying to, if you want them to breed and go, you probably need to start feeding them every week.
Yeah.
Get them.
For sure.
They got to get built up and be prepared for that, because some of them
a lot out of them.
Some of them going off feed for 2 or 3 months at a time and things like that. They have to have something to live on.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
they go off feed, they got to have something to keep the babies viable as well.
Yeah. That's the one time it's okay for them to be a little chubby when they're building. You got to get them, you got to get weight on them because otherwise you're going to have a skeleton after they lay.
So, there's a lot of misinformation out there that's, and I mean,
Mhm.
I've heard some of it myself and things, and luckily I asked a lot of questions too. So I've been able to avoid a lot of things and had a lot of help. Now, looking at the reptile community, it's primarily seems to be male driven, but there
It's
are
always been that way.
there are some very prominent women in the space, including yourself. What advice would you give to a woman wanting to start breeding reptiles?
I don't know. I'd give a woman the same advice I'd give a man, honestly.
I like that
It
answer.
doesn't. Yeah, I don't. I don't really think that I would
Do you think
separate
they
that in
face?
any way.
Do you think they face any skepticism starting out, or lack
I
of?
think that women generally, and this is a generality. I feel like women a lot of times feel like they need to sensualize or sexualize themselves sometimes to get attention in the industry,
Okay.
which doesn't really build them a platform in which to be respected. I feel like by men in the industry because they tend to then take them as a figure versus like wanting to hear what they have to say.
I get you. Well, moving into ethics and husbandry a little bit, what do you
Mhm.
think separates a responsible breeder from someone who just producing snakes?
Gotta think on that one for a second because that's a hard one. That's like I'd say because I've seen people tout themselves as ethical breeders, and I feel like what people feel like is ethical is so different. So I would say more along the lines of what separates a breeder that I would respect, like taking ethics off the table because my ethics might not be the same as somebody else's, but
That's true. Yes.
um, would be that I would be looking for people who are being thoughtful about their pairings. If they have extra babies that they don't have a use for, they have a plan for what they're going to do.
Right.
Versus just people that don't have a plan and breed, which I see all the time because I'm on Facebook. I would say
Yeah.
those people that I don't think they're hurting the industry. They're more or less hurting themselves because they're not educated. I've even had people in chats recently be like, "Oh, I already know what I want to do, but I need help." And I'm like, "Well, how do you have the answers and need help? Like,
Right. If you know what to do, why do you need my help?
why are you asking?"
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you have to humble yourself a little bit. Some people don't like to not know the answer, but I mean, when you're a new person, you don't know the answer, and a lot of times, whatever answer you've come up with might not be as as informed as you might think it is, right? So I feel like there's a lot of things where people will be getting out of the hobby and they'll be offloading, or even if they're not getting out of the hobby, let's just say they're offloading single gene females or single gene males on Facebook or on Craigslist or something like that. The
Right.
people that kind of like just go around and gather those up and breed them together are the people that I feel like I don't respect as breeders.
Right. They have there's no plan. It's kind of like
There's no plan.
stray,
Yeah.
kind of like stray cats breeding outside, right?
Right. And they're not ready. They'll be like, "Oh my God, I have eggs. What do I do?" And you're like, "Well, do you have an incubator?" They're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, just put the eggs in the freezer, feed your snake. Like really at the end of the day, like those eggs don't need to be hatched, honestly. So
Do you ever have people ask you to hatch their eggs for them?
no, thankfully, because I will not do it. That's a lie. I have done that for another breeder once. So there was another breeder that was moving out of this area, and he had I want to say it was like 3 or 4 clutches that were like in the incubator, like when he was getting ready to move, and I hatched those eggs for him and then shipped the snakes to him. But like as for just some random person, I would not know.
For some reason, I get asked that question a lot.
Well, if people aren't prepared to hatch eggs, then they don't need to hatch them. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it sounds awful to say put the eggs in the freezer, but the eggs are just eggs at that point. You're not like hurting a baby. You're doing
Yeah.
better by it than you would if you did not, honestly.
Right. Yeah, I try to explain to him. I said, you know, I built my incubator myself, and it probably didn't cost me. What did it cost? It cost me 2 fans because everything else was given to me.
You can incubate eggs in a cooler. Like coolers are amazing incubators. One of my friends, she had a big life event in which she was unable to care for her snakes for a while. And she lives in Texas, and she drove her snakes up here to me, and I cared for her while she was in the hospital. And she drove a couple clutches in an incubator made out of a cooler, and all of the babies hatched.
Oh, that's
From
nice.
From Texas in a trailer. So
Yeah.
it worked out.
Well, I think that these animals, both in the egg form and afterwards, are a lot more resilient than people give them credit for.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So on the personal side of things, what motivates you to keep pushing project forward when things get tough for you? What's that drive behind Thomi Gill?
I mean, I'm a pretty driven person to begin with, but like as for like projects when they get difficult, like if I miss or whatever else, I generally, if I'm putting things together, I have a really solid idea of what I want to see. So, and I still want to see it. So I'm going to continue trying unless something happens where I find out something's wrong with the female and she can't reproduce, or her eggs never go to fruition or something of that nature for a couple of years in a row. But outside of that, my biggest thing in the hobby is I really just love trying to make new things I haven't seen. So I just constantly want to see them, I guess. Like it doesn't go away.
I think that's probably the thing for everyone. I'm sitting here still waiting for a clutch, and it'll be the very first one. I'm new as it can be, and I'm studying and trying, and I'm sure that moment when they start pipping and things will be a very important time for me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's the kind of thing. Watching everybody else's clutches come to fruition and hatch, and then showing them online and things, it's pretty awesome to me.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. Seeing the babies come out is really, really cool.
Well, we all face, we on here we deal with mental health problems. We talk about things like that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has one. Everyone has a storm or something they're fighting. How has this industry or the animals, how they helped you in dealing with those kind of situations, or have they?
I would say for me, animals have always been my go-to, just period. I've just always been an animal person. When I was in school and stuff, like I wasn't popular in school. I've always been kind of like very, very straightforward and or opinionated, and that doesn't always make you the most friends, right? So yeah, I mean, I've had animals my entire life, so I feel like that's always been kind of my quote unquote friends, like that's what gave me purpose outside of like going to school and doing laundry or normal everyday things. Like it was the thing I did the most, is like, because like I said, I've had reptiles since I was 2, and so once once I turned 12, I started having like multiple reptiles, and then I just had like a room full of reptiles, and then I had golden jungle cats and bobcats and coatimundis and cichlids and you name it. I've had so many different animals. It's been insane. So,
The wife
yeah,
asked
it's always been my thing.
the wife asked a question. I think she asked, how many snakes or animals do you have right now?
I believe I have around 120 snakes right now, and that's plenty for me. I don't really want more. I have a limited amount of space, and that's a good thing for me.
Yeah. Hey, I get it, because I could probably fill up my entire house and that building back there, and fortunately it's easier for me than someone else because of my mission in helping veterans. I get a lot of things, snakes donated and things. So
Yeah.
sometimes I have to tell people no. You have to give me some time.
Yeah.
And to me, it's, my biggest struggle with this, Thomi, is, I don't know a better word, addiction.
Yeah. Well, because it gives you dopamine.
Not the drugs, but the animals themselves. And I see this one, and I see this insane clown combo that I don't have, where I don't have the ingredients, if you will, to make it yet. And it's kind of like, it grabs my attention, and I got to focus on it. And how do I get that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's dopamine. It's addiction. Addiction is addiction no matter what. So yeah, it makes sense. Like, because it feels good to see something new or have an idea, and it sparks something in your brain. It gives you dopamine. That's absolutely part of it.
Well,
Whether you have a healthy relationship with it or not.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, we've all been through some tough times and things. Do you have any advice to someone who's going through some problems right now and are struggling? And, the biggest one to me, I feel like, is people always feel alone in a situation, even though they're surrounded by people who love them and support them. We sometimes we get this Lone Ranger syndrome, maybe, that we're on this journey by ourselves. It's just me and Silver, Any idea?
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of understand what you're saying, but I mean, I think that a lot of times finding a group of people that have the same passions as you is really where that is. And even being surrounded by people on the internet, you can still feel alone, because the moment you don't have your phone in your hand, you're alone again, right?
Right.
But part of that is okay to be alone a little bit. I feel like it's okay to be alone, and to find that, just because you're alone in the moment doesn't mean you're actually just alone. Like we are going to be alone in the moment, and that, I don't think that that's a terrible thing, honestly.
Right. I agree with that too. Sorry about the noise. Someone came to my front door, evidently.
Oh, you got a dog?
Well, I got a Ring camera.
Oh, okay. It is ding donging.
Yeah, so it goes on to make all of its good noises and stuff like that.
Well, your microphone did a good job of canceling it out.
Well, I do have a pretty decent one, and it's supposed to have noise cancellation, so maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't super loud on this side, so.
I was worried about a few weeks ago when I was on more forwards, because I still had the ratch in here, and it's going 100 miles an hour on those water bottles, and click,
oh, yeah. Click, 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 click.
What excites you most about the future of ball python genetics? People think with the genetic testing and things that it cuts down a lot of time and things. And I believe that's true, but
genetic testing cuts down on time, but it doesn't change your odds.
True.
What it really does is change how many snakes you actually have to keep. Right? So instead of keeping an entire clutch, you're keeping 1 or 2 or 3 from a clutch because you've tested and right? Like, I know what's in this. So
I think from what I've seen so far, and I try to pay attention to what Phenome and RGI puts out and the information and things like that. I think we're still very early in it, and I don't think the tests are 100% conclusive, being that, like Red Stripe right now, they're working on their third test because there's a different line of what Red Stripe produces kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think it's the same thing with like Black Pastel also, that there's like more than one of those situations.
There's more than one special and all of those things. So there's a lot of different genes that have more than one line, because before genetic testing, we looked at something and we said, all right, well, this is both close enough that they're now going to be this, right? But we couldn't see the difference between them because it was too close, right?
Right.
But genetics says, oh, they're actually this, right? So that's where educating yourself on what something looks like comes into play, right? Because there is something to be said to be able to visually ID something and not rely on a test. And there is something to say that, if Red Stripe's in there and you can't ID it, then that's fine. Kind of like we talked about a little bit before we came on, like, okay, well, you know what, here's what the pairing is. I think it's this. I think it's this. You look at it and you tell me, you don't even have to tell me what you think it is. You look at it and make the assertion of what you think it is. And if you think you're going to get something extra, or you think you're getting exactly what it is, great. Because the thing about genetics is, and especially like visual representation of genetics, is that slight differences can still look the same to us if we don't have enough nuance, right? So we can't rely on genetic testing to ID everything that's in an animal. For me, genetic testing as a whole is going to be the majority of the time for recessive traits, or traits that may be covered up by something. Say I have a piebald animal and I'm like, oh, well, this piebald animal has black pastel in it, but it also could have these 5 things in it, and I want to know if they're in there, right? Black pastel brings the pattern down enough that I'm not going to be able to ID those other things most likely visually. If it's valuable enough, or something in that combo is valuable enough, then I'll then test for it. But the majority of it's going to be recessive genetics.
Yeah, I mean, if you think it's monsoon, I would probably test for it. If you think it's pied, I probably wouldn't spend the money.
Yeah, well, depending on the project, I mean,
that's true too.
Yeah, depending on the project. And I mean, because at the end of the day, like, we all value different, recessives differently. And, and you could say maybe it's pied, but maybe it's clown pied. Maybe it's monsoon pied. Maybe you still want to know, right? So the majority of things, like I said, for me personally, are going to be for recessives when it comes to testing. I'm not going to be testing for a lot of incomplete dominants, because we are human and we looked at them and we named them. And people get mad and they're like, well, it says it's not Red Stripe and this is Red Stripe. And I'm like, well, yeah, we named it Red Stripe. Or maybe some of those people are just mis-IDing. Sorry to hear that.
Dwight, buddy, I know how it is. As we talked, I've been in your shoes, and all you can do is, like you said, one day at a time, keep putting one foot in front of the other and push forward. The pain and that hurt doesn't disappear, and time does not heal it. It just, in time, other things became a part of your life, and it's not a constant thought. So just try to stay busy, buddy, and you can message me anytime. And shout out to Bosa. But I guess we need to take one more commercial break, and then we'll come back and finish up in a few minutes.
All right, sounds good.
The United States Association of Reptile Keepers is a science, education, and conservation-based advocacy for the responsible private ownership of and trade in reptiles and amphibians. We endorse caging standards, sound husbandry, escape prevention protocols, and an integrated approach to vital conservation issues. Our goal is to facilitate cooperation between government agencies, the scientific community, and the private sector in order to produce policy proposals that will effectively address important husbandry and conservation issues. The health of these animals, public safety, and maintaining ecological integrity are our primary concerns.
All right. So I got something new I'm going to do here. I'm going to call it the firing squad. I got five rapid fire questions for you.
All right.
Favorite ball python gene?
Monsoon right now.
Most overrated gene? And this is all in your opinion.
Yeah. Clown.
When you make an OG think about it, you're doing something right. See?
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, I feel like that's a hard one. I'd have to say clown. That's just for me personally.
Okay. How about underrated?
Cryptic.
Cryptic?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to put some time and effort there. I think I like it, what it does. If money was not an object, what would your dream project be?
My dream project, like are we talking about pythons or anything or what? What are we talking
Anything,
about?
anything in the reptile world.
Bolin's pythons.
Which one?
Bolin's.
Okay. And is it one gene you might refuse to work with?
It's not really any of them, I don't think. I think that I really don't want to work spider. I wouldn't refuse to work spider, but I don't really have any want to work it.
I have
But
one.
if something came up, I'd say because it's beautiful. They make beautiful combos, but
I have one spider coming, and I'm excited about it. It's coming from Sammy.
Yeah.
It's a spider, desert ghost, fire, Inky orange dream, het clown girl.
Oh, I bet that's a beautiful animal.
She got an X on her back. I'm calling her Agent X.
Oh, nice. Yeah, spider is beautiful. Like that's why I said like I wouldn't refuse to work it, but like if I have to choose something, because I can't. That's what came to mind first.
How you feel about Hidden Gene Woma? Doesn't it have?
I like Hidden Gene Woma. I work champagne. I don't have anything wrong with any of those types of things. I
have
work cypress, so.
I've got a couple of cypress girls, and I did get a Hidden Gene Woma clown. She's pretty unique.
I really love Hidden Gene Woma. I feel like Hidden Gene Woma is having a small upsurge right now. I feel like I've seen more of it coming up out of the cracks. So I feel like it's gonna in the next couple of years we're gonna have to see some cool combos of it. There's definitely some really cool stuff I've already seen done with it, but I feel like because the pattern disruptors are so popular right now that it's gonna go well.
It does a lot.
Like, okay.
I say it does a lot in the clown.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Busy Clown is popular now, but like 10 years ago, really reduced clown was popular. It's just like everything else. Like we went from Jinko jeans to skinny jeans, and now we're back to Jinko jeans again.
Yeah.
Except it's reptiles.
I mean, Lainey Wilson's bringing back bell bottoms, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that's the way it works. It works cyclically. So right now we're in a big heavy pattern mutations. It seems like as a general thing. The hype around monsoon is amazing.
Yeah. Bright contrasted blackhead mandarin. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, blackhead. I work a lot of blackhead. I have a ton of blackhead.
I'm trying to find one that I can afford, a blackhead male. I've got some nice blackhead females, but it'll happen when it's supposed to.
Yeah, I've got blackhead lavender monsoons possibly this season. We'll see.
That's sick.
I hope so.
This may be something you don't want to answer. Are there any upcoming projects or collaborations people should watch for coming from you? Probably what you just mentioned.
I mean, yeah, I have some monsoon stuff coming up. I have some cool cryptic stuff coming up. I have some you guys are into paint stuff. I have some hypocryptic paint stuff coming up. I have some hypocryptic clown stuff from last year, not visual clown, but I do make pet clown stuff. I just don't make visual clown stuff.
He wanted to come say hi.
Hi! Look at him. He's gotten bigger.
Oh yeah, he eats good.
Yeah, well. Oh, he looks so pretty. He's so dark you can barely see him.
Yeah, he's dark. It seemed like he got darker this last shed.
He will continue to darken up.
Oh, here you seem better now, maybe.
Yeah, he'll continue to darken up. Yeah. He looks good. I'm glad you guys love him. He's definitely gotten bigger.
Which does she prefer, boas or balls?
The wife said, which do you prefer, boas or ball pythons?
Ball pythons for size.
Yeah.
Right now I'm on a dry mark-on kick though, so.
I've got I can't never say the word, Papalan carpet python coming from Kyle Markham.
Okay.
I love the pattern.
Carpets are nice.
Yeah.
Carpets are nice. Yeah, I've wanted an indigo snake all my life, so I ended up getting one. So I'm super excited about that. So.
Well, Thomi, what do you hope your legacy in the reptile community will be someday?
That's a really deep question. I don't know. That I tried to step up and help people that needed help and didn't let people get run over by others, honestly. I try to protect people as much as possible. So.
I agree. And one of the things I admire about you, you're not like, and you referred to it earlier being like a straight shooter, and if you want to call it opinionated or whatever, but in some of the chats sometimes, it's somebody says something that's just totally not correct or wrong.
Yeah.
You step in and kind of put it straight, and I admire that because most everyone respects your opinion because you've got a lot of knowledge and been in the industry a long time. So.
Well, I'm happy to admit if I'm wrong too. That's the thing. Like if I say somebody else is wrong and they come up with something that's valid, I'm happy to say if I'm wrong. I come from a very scientific standpoint when it comes to things, and science sometimes is wrong. Sometimes I'll have old information, or maybe in that specific scenario I am wrong, and that's okay. But generally, I try to not let misinformation go by. I try to not allow people to steer other people, especially in the group chats, the wrong way, because a lot of the people in there don't have all the information yet, and they're relying on these people to help steer them. So
we're going to close up the show here. We've been on for an hour now.
No worries.
I do appreciate your time because you sacrificed this hour to be with us, and I enjoyed it immensely, and I think everyone else probably did as well.
Good.
Do you have any parting words or advice for anyone out there today? Whatever you want to say.
No, that's it. You guys can find me on Instagram, Inky Clouds. I'm in a bunch of the group chats. If you have questions or need help with small things here and there, I'm happy to help. If you need lots of help, I have one more slot in my mentorship program. Outside of that, y'all have an awesome Sunday.
If you need animals, you're looking for something, always hit Thomi up. She has some beautiful, healthy animals. And
most of them are not listed. I'm terrible at listing things.
And she's not going to sell you something that's not going to be, it's not thriving and not going to do well either. It's going to be top notch. We love you too, Bosa. Thank you for watching, buddy. Well, we thank everyone for being here with us at Behind the Scale today, and we just pray that you have a great week and wish you all the best of luck.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Bye, guys.